Chicos, we're back, baby. Let's get it. It's been a minute, so hey, if you don't know who I am, my name's Jaime, and I was born and raised here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, right outside Toronto. And as a little rugrat, I remember every day I'd just be swearing under my breath at my parents. I just hated them. I'd be hoarding my stolen goods in my room, counting my money. I'd be wasting my time indulging in video games and pornography. Even did some drugs when no one was looking. I swam in so many lies, and my heart was filled with so much hatred, bitterness, and negativity. But one day I remember sitting by a river contemplating ending my life. I just couldn't see that point. Why keep going when all I've ever experienced was just pain and suffering? Hope was lost, joy was a distant memory, and love was nothing more than just a dream. And that was when I had a radical encounter with the God from the Bible, Yahweh, who's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God who is one and the same as Jesus Christ, who humbled himself like a slave and died on a cross for my sin and the world's, so that if we believe in his name, we can have eternal life with him. If that's not love, I really don't know what love is. And so on that day, I dedicated my life completely to God. Because my old life was gone, I died that day. But not by the knife that was in my hands, but by the Spirit who pierced my heart. Yet just as Jesus was raised again on the third day, I was born again. Now it was no longer I who lived, but Christ who lived in me. I became a bondservant, and I told God that whatever he wants me to do, I'll do for him. Wherever he wants me to go, I'll go, alright? But if he doesn't want me to go, I won't go. Now I know my story is quite different from the norm, but I believe that God in his wisdom and his grace knew I was so steeped in sin and despair that only a radical encounter would wake me up. And that radical encounter in such a hopeless situation is what created in my heart a radical obedience to God. Now I've been working for nearly 4 years on this here ministry called Barak Project, and we've taken many twists and turns, faced many ups and downs, but I do believe we're slowly moving towards God's vision. But I wanted to make a video to clarify a few things, alright? I am not an influencer, and this is not a self-improvement channel. We live in an age where there's so many influencers. Social media is literally just a business now. Everybody wants to make money off it. And what easier way than to just share your advice for helping others, right? But what, am I going to do the same thing? Just be like the rest of the world? I'm not hating on these influencers, and I'm not saying they're all bad, but what I'm saying is that you should pause and reflect to see whether what they're saying is actually the truth or just a lie running parallel. Because if you've been in the self-improvement space for a while, you start to see the common narratives and ideas that circulate, many of which have good intention, right? Wanting you to become a better person, right? That's so amazing. But in reality, when you really look close to it, a lot of these are very opposite to the way of Jesus. Now this also means as someone who makes content for Barak Project, I've got to be held to a higher standard too. And so I want people to see, not just by my words, but by my approach to this ministry, that this is different. That Barak Project is not of this world, just like we as disciples of Jesus are not of this world. That's John 17. And if we are not of this world, then we cannot follow the ways of this world. Look, if I pump out videos and content, then what have I done but merely play the algorithm? Play by their rules, which, as you know, these social media platforms, they really only care about money. And the devil uses it as ways of distraction and ways to deform how we think and live. And so let me ask you, what's the point of views, likes, followers, and subscribers? Should not the goal of Barak Project be transformation of my viewers into the image of Christ? To get viewers to radically live out God's will in their lives. Should not that be the goal? Not trying to reach some arbitrary number of followers or trying to get this amount of money. Because if I just spew nonsense like 99% of these influencers, then what am I really doing? This isn't kingdom work. Like, I'm actually done. I'm not going to play their game. I'm not playing this algorithm. I don't care if it gets me more views or gets me monetized. I don't care about any of that. Because as I've sat with God in the secret place, being pruned and prepared, praying and seeking God's vision, shedding tears for this generation year after year, the one thing that has become truly apparent is that we can trust God that he will do far greater than anything that a mere man can do with all his wisdom and methods. So I'm done. I'm going to stop playing the hustle culture game. There's a reason why I haven't posted that much this year, because I knew as the founder of Barak Project, starting something as serious as this, that slowing down and seeking God's vision trumps blasting out content for mere analytics every single time. Over the years, I thought a lot about these entrepreneurs who are all about monk mode, full grind and hustle, no sleep, no rest, just work till you hit 10K a month, and then once you get there, hit 100K, keep scaling. Like, think about that, chief. Lucy's got a strong hold on this young generation, snagging young men and women of God into the lies of this business mindset where you forego everything in your life and just to lock in on your business, your success, your future, even if it's like some Christian business. But like, how freaking self-centered is that? You think Jesus cared about any of these things? You know, he would preach a sermon that would be really hard for the audience to hear, and 90% of his crowd and disciples would literally just leave him. They'd be like, yo, this is too hard. This guy's nuts. I'm leaving. That didn't even faze him, because he knew his purpose and his vision. The worldly ways of success did not even matter to him. Like, imagine if I just did what everybody else did. Followed the hormozis of this world, just locked myself in my room, making content every single day. No friends, no fun, just work. Sure, I can pump out daily videos and scale the ministry hard because of the algorithm, but what? Am I gonna just forsake my local church and community? I'm gonna just stop serving my youth, the kids there? I'm gonna say no to hanging out with the young adults in my church? Why? Because I got something better to do? Something more important? What could be more important than loving one another? That happens on the ground, in real life, face to face. For me to play the game that influencers are all playing, the game Lucy wants me to play, then I'd be the biggest hypocrite of all. Not even living out what God has made me to do, what God has made each of us to do, which is to love God and love others. Not love your work, not love your achievements, not love your goals, not love the grind. It's so easy to have unholy ambition for business, even if we label it as a ministry, when all we really need to do is love the people around us right here, right now. Like, are we even doing that? And if I can't even do that right, then what am I teaching my viewers? Even at a subconscious level, because none of this is ever talked about. This just happens subtly over time. And so I'm making this video to make my intentions and my approach clear. This is the real Barak Project. It took time to sift away all the filth from my toilet, but here we are now, right? We've learned to eat healthier, get that spirit fiber, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm not perfect, far from it, but I'm much more aware of the devil's schemes now, and I thought it'd be good to share it with you too. So the plan here moving forward is this. My priorities in life are the people in my life right now. God has placed me into this specific time and space to be a light showing God's love to those around me, like the people closest to me and the ones that I love the most, as well as my community, and of course my local church, which, by the way, is Jesus' chosen vehicle to reach his people, not YouTube or some online business. As disciples of Jesus, you and I have to lock in and invest into the people around us in our life. God's put us here because we're called to show Jesus' love to them. So I'm not quitting YouTube. My focus has changed. My priorities are different. I'm not trying to just pump out as many vids as possible, a lot of which in the past have been very self-help based, even if it did have Christian insights, because now it's about spiritual formation. How can I help my brothers and sisters become more like Jesus in every area of their life? It's hard to explain, I suppose, but you'll see the new vids and topics and you'll understand what I mean. Like, I know there's gonna be people thinking, why are you doing this? But it's okay, because when the heart changes, the rest follows. And even if this ministry, Barak Project, doesn't excel or succeed in the world's eyes, only God will know the true fruit of this work. People don't have to believe in me. They just have to believe in God, and that's like the main thing. That's what John the Baptist was talking about when he said, he must become greater and I must become less. My ministry doesn't have to work or succeed. People can doubt me, but I just need to focus on Jesus and get others to focus on Jesus as well. Not me, because I'm not an influencer and I'm done playing their games. Look, I'm gonna end off with this, that if God's hand is really in this work, then it will succeed. Not by numbers, analytics, followers, or money, but by seeds sown that will reap harvests in people's hearts, helping others transform and become more like Jesus. But if God's hand is not with us, then Barak Project will fade away like every other false work of man, forgotten and wasted by the time the next generation rears its head. No tangible, no lasting fruit in people's lives. So this is the real Barak Project. I'm really excited to show you and journey with you in faith and see what God can do to reach this lost generation.
Phone up, girl, I need to go silent. Hold on, leave the city outside. It's been so long since I let them slide. Emotions showing up uninvited. Phone up, girl, I need to go silent.